Make you guys proud knowing that John Schneider was a Ball State alum?
No.
Not really.
Not a huge fan of the guy, personally.
Yeah,
I
same.
mean, even before the racial slurs, I didn't really like him. That doesn't help.
No, yeah, I agree. I'm not a huge fan.
Right. Kind of forget that he exists.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think about like all the stuff that's been going on with him?
I think it was a misunderstanding.
It's delicious. It's definitely delicious.
Nice and juicy.
Yeah.
Like Domino's better.
You like Domino's better? Good man.
My name is Kincaid, and this is a management review of Papa John's Pizza. So, as an overview, we want to look at some general problems that we can see in management in any business. And the first we chose was personal issues, and this could be issues with family, issues with their neighbors, any issues that an employee brings into the business that a manager would have to find an appropriate and effective way to deal with. Another problem that we found was a stressful work environment, and this can be an effect of many different issues, but then again, a manager has to find an effective and appropriate way to deal with that. And finally, one thing we found was issues with colleagues, and this could be coworkers getting in disagreements on the same level, or a manager and their subordinate disagreeing on an issue. So, a common problem we found in the workforce was age discrimination. And for the most part, this has been eliminated by the Age Discrimination in Employment Act in 1967. But this really was a problem in the hiring process for individuals who might have been too old or too young to work the jobs that they wanted. Another issue we found was gender discrimination. So this was mainly resolved in the Equal Pay Act of 1963, but this basically states that a company is found treating an employee unfair on the basis of their gender. So for the most part, this has been eliminated, but not surprisingly, it could still be found in our workforce today. So another issue we found with the workforce today is issues with race and ethnicity, specifically discrimination. And this basically involves treating an applicant or an employee unfairly on the basis of their race or their ethnicity. And for the most part, this was, I guess, treated by the Civil Rights Act of 1991, but still today, we still find problems and issues of people being treated unfairly on the basis of race and ethnicity in our workforce.
My name is Burkart, and I will be talking about the diagnosis of Papa John's Pizza. So before we were kind of general as like all of like business and everything, talking about diversity and discrimination, but we wanted to narrow it down to just specifically Papa John's for us to focus on. So for diversity, this is a quote from the book. It is also a critical issue for organizations, one that if not handled well can bring an organization to its knees, especially in our increasingly global environment. I think this is true for any business, but Papa John's specifically. There was a recent incident involving John. He was using hateful language that was seen as offensive towards African Americans, and he said this on a conference call that was actually supposed to better their PR. Didn't really work out so well. He's also participated in hateful acts of racism and drunkenness during his time as chairman. Franchise level issues are poor service, underpaid franchise employees, understaffed franchises, and the disconnect between corporate franchise goals and policies, etc. So we kind of chose diversity and discrimination out of all the other ones like mistreatment, the lawsuits, bad comments, poor behavior, and poor business conduct. We just felt that diversity and discrimination were the two most important out of all of them. And another quote from the book was, one of the most important management issues to emerge over the last 40 years has been the increasing diversity of the workforce. So having said that, we just felt like this was the way to go as Papa John's. With all that being said, we're going to move on from the diagnosis to the solutions that we came up with for Papa John's franchising.
My name is Fouts, and I'm here to present possible solutions for Papa John's to increase diversity. First, we plan to provide training on cultural sensitivity and diversity. Cultural sensitivity is being aware that cultural differences and similarities between people do exist. Basically, recognizing everybody is different and being aware and respectful of everyone. As unconscious bias or learned stereotypes, those are stereotypes you've learned maybe from people that raised you, where you're from. We want to eliminate all that with Papa John's. Some other possible solutions to improve diversity are to form scholarships for minorities. Other companies do that, such as Hyatt Hotels. This is a good opportunity for Papa John's to show that we care about the future for minorities in America. We would like also to do business with suppliers that also share the same commitment to diversity that we do. Our end goal is for everyone to feel like family with Papa John's. Some other possible solutions for improving diversity in Papa John's would be to start by reviewing John Schnatter's ownership of the company. He currently owns $400 million in shares with the company, which is quite a bit. If we were to buy out Schnatter, it would eventually open up more doors and people would kind of disassociate him with our franchise. Removing John Schnatter's image from a company brand. So basically, anything to get away from John Schnatter to changing the boxes, coming up with new logos, slogans, possibly renaming the business would be possible options for us.
Hi, my name is Margaret Nicholson, and I'm going to talk about how to implement the solutions that Kurt just previously explained. So how I'm going to do that is talk about just a few of the key steps a part of the action plan. So one of the important steps would be to create a strategic plan. And so what that would look like is letting the company and customers be aware of the diversely conscious and discrimination-free company that Papa John's would like to become. And we would do this by creating a policy and procedures that implement those changes. So what we would do is we would push for better treatment for employees. So if you treat employees if a company treats employees how they want to be treated, then they will treat customers how they would like to be treated. And that would be better off for everyone. So that is putting emphasis on investing in employees. And so how we would do that is implementing top-down change. So what that looks like is the top management is making the change, which is quicker, then bottom-up change, which is like the lower employees making the change and working their way up. So it's quicker and it sets the tone for the entire company. So basically what that is saying is that we would replicate other companies that have exceptional customer service. So for example, Starbucks, which is known for putting your name on your cup, calling out your name when it's your turn to get your order, or having excellent baristas who have awesome people skills. Another one would be Southwest, which is known for its comfortableness and awesome deals on flights and making sure that the customers go first. And Chick-fil-A, which is also known for its exceptional service and saying my pleasure when you say thank you. All three of these companies have something in common, and that would be their excellent training that they give to their employees. So what that does is it sets standards for the entire company and transparency throughout all of the locations, and it makes sure that the culture is diverse within the company and discriminatory free. All of that saying, it makes a really welcoming community for a company and one that you would want to be a part of and sell to.
Hi, my name is Gabby Vendramin, and I'm going to be talking about the evaluation of Papa John's Pizza. Individuals who have worked there, including myself, say that a majority of us would not recommend working at Papa John's Pizza. One of the workers that works there currently said that they need to compensate their employees more than they do now. The general managers make around $12.50 an hour, whereas the drivers make usually around $13 an hour, and in-store workers make around $8.25 an hour. You can't live off of this. And then management also relies on other employees to pick up the slack of the employees who frequently call off, and that's just not fair to the employees that actually work their shifts. In conclusion, Papa John's has a ton of problems that need to be fixed in order for this company to rebuild its brand. Rebuilding its brand would be very beneficial for Papa John's in the future. Have stated that they
Locating up and up. I was doing so good. Okay.
Minority student.
We'll be talking about the evaluation of value.
Diagnosis of Papa John's Pizza.
Of Papa John's Pizza. So, in
Former chairman and CEO John Schneider. And
So, your mom's Hispanic. Is your dad white? Oh, really?
Yeah, he's very white.
Really?
Very.
all right, thank you guys. Get out of here.